Hi, women. My name's Karma, and welcome back to season 3 of the Free Birthing in Color movement. This is a space to hear the stories of women of color and Indigenous women sharing their experiences of living, working, and birthing in their power. If you feel like you have a story to share and would like to have your words and your voice amplified within this movement, please reach out to me. All information about submitting your story can be found within the show notes below or on the Free Birthing in Color Instagram page. The Instagram handle is at freebirthing_in color. Just send me a DM or find the submission forms within the profile. I look forward to hearing from you and making space for your experiences to be witnessed. And now I'm extremely grateful to have shared time and energy with our next guest. Here is her story. Hello, Elisha. Welcome to the Free Birthing in Color movement. I am very grateful to have you here today with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm very excited to hear your stories. And you just said before we started recording, you're another Canadian sister. So I love hearing stories of women that are living in the same country that I'm living in, but also have very diverse and beautiful backgrounds. That's why I created this so that we can get into seeing women of all different colors and all different ethnicities, all different ancestry, sharing their stories of where they are around the world. So I think that's really beautiful that you're going to be a part of this really lovely tapestry that's being woven together. So the first question I want to ask you is, what is your ancestry and lineage?
Sure. So I was born here on Turtle Island
Mm.
to a Canadian kind of like settler roots mom and a Jamaican father. And I was raised in a Rastafarian context.
Okay,
Four
cool.
siblings. Yeah.
With 4 siblings, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And yeah, I just want to get right into it then. What is, or where does your motherhood journey begin?
Oh, well, I love this question. I love the opportunity to answer questions like this. So just
Mhm.
wanted to start with that. And my motherhood journey started, I think, young, as a child, as a young girl, having a kind of an imagery of myself as a mother and
Mhm.
myself with children from a very young age. One of my goals in life, kind of like a primal goal.
Mhm.
And then when I became a mother, I didn't plan my pregnancy, my first pregnancy. And when that life was upon us, I felt really excited and really ready. Um, and I think I've always gravitated towards children. So my work before that was as a nanny or as a camp counselor or, working with kids, helping to raise my younger siblings. So the sanctity of children and things related to children was something I was already connected to. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. That's kind of a common thread that I hear from many women is that, the children piece, connection to children, whether it's their siblings or through nannying, babysitting, and things like that, is really strong. So then that led them really deeply into their motherhood journey, having their own children, which I love. Did you want to elaborate a bit more on this first pregnancy that you had and go into that story a little bit?
Sure. Should we go into that story? Yeah. Okay. Well, um, I was a young woman and I was in Toronto. I was in university. I was in my fourth year in a dance program. And that year I met the love of my life. Um, and I was doing a lot of like West Indian and African dance and drumming. And I was also doing very in-depth yogic training along with the dance. So I was in a very good state and element, like culturally and spiritually at that time in my life. And so I met my partner through the drum and dance community. And he's also West Indian. And yeah, so we were kind of on this beat, you know? We were creating together, choreographing, making music, making art. And
Mm-hmm.
so then we made a baby,
Mm.
uh, and we were both excited. And we welcomed her full force. Didn't know it was a girl, but because we were in our early 20s, there's different reactions from the family. And so it was like a mixed, it was received with mixed messages. Um, so we got really, really strong together and decided that we want to keep this baby. We feel ready to do this. And then I went about like crafting an experience for us where it was a stress-free pregnancy, and started to really research what that means. And I started to do all of my final like fourth year university projects somehow in the lens of pregnancy. And
Wow.
yeah, and like my dance pieces were about pregnancy, and my papers were around like cultural practices that are all over the world to kind of maintain this sacred, um,
Mm-hmm.
of the mother, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
her peace and all of that. And so, yeah, that was my mission. And then anybody else who was kind of like crying or freaking out or stressed out, I was like, you know, I love you. Like I'm here, but right now I'm doing something. I'm growing a baby, and I can't afford this right now. So
Yeah. I love that
have
that
to.
you yeah, I absolutely love that that even though the two of you were young, you came together as that united force to
Mhm.
really add that beautiful energy into the creation that you and your partner had made, which was this baby. And I love that there's the energy of the music and the dance and all of this creation in the external world, which was feeding into the creation that you were doing on your internal self.
Yeah.
That's so lovely. And yeah, I can just imagine that being really beautiful to create and cultivate and have the support of your partner and do this together.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
indeed. It was,
Hmm.
and I have to say about that first pregnancy as well, like all the creative energy was flowing very strong and open. And also, my partner had like a strong connection to the land. So,
Hmm.
although he's from Trinidad and African kind of descent, when he came up to Canada, he was living amongst First Nations people in the north. He didn't
Hmm.
settle in the city. He came as like a young man, and he went up north. And so he was with medicine communities
Mm.
doing ceremony and living on the land, and like he was the African drum chief, where there
Mhm.
was like other indigenous songs and ceremonies being kept. He was keeping certain traditions within that community.
Wow.
And so when I was pregnant, we had a lot of incredible experiences, ceremonially, you know, and like we did this thing where we're 7 months pregnant and we walked from Toronto all the way up to this land. You know, like we walked,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah, I know how big Ontario is. I used to live there, so I can only imagine doing that 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we walked, and then we'd camp at night. We'd like make a lean-to, make a fire, sleep
Mm.
on the land with our little blankets, and then wake up in the morning and walk again
Mm.
until we arrived at our destination. And it was called Eagle Dance, the ceremony that was happening. And I was like, "Oh, dance? Yeah, Eagle Dance. I could dance, you know." And then I
Hmm.
get there and I learned so many things about life and myself, and like what motherhood requires in terms of a different set of rules, a
Hmm.
gentleness, a stepping back, a sitting
Hmm.
out, a resting. You know, like
Hmm.
all of this was really taught to me by the main medicine woman up there, because we were there dancing around the tree of life, and I like want to go hard, and she's like, "No, you're coming with me to the rest tent, the respite
Hmm.
tent, and where it's all blue and it's full of jugs of water, and I want
Mm.
you to drink water, and I want you to rest, you know."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Rest? What?" You know?
I don't want to do this. I'm here to dance.
I hear that, like, you know. And then there was another moment in that ceremony where everyone was going into the sweat lodge, you know, like so, like after all is said and done, you go into the sweat, and I'm so ready to climb into the sweat, and she's like, "No, you're not going in there. It's too hot.
Mm.
You have to sit this one out." So had to sit out while everybody climbed into like the womb, you know.
Hmm.
I'm sitting outside with what they call the dog soldiers. And the
Hmm.
dog soldiers are like these teenage boys who keep the fire. I'm just
Hmm.
out there with the dog soldiers, like crying under the moon, like feeling like I want to be a part of things. And then it was teaching me, but no, you're going to have to be like a separate entity for a while you raise your baby, while you raise yourself, you know. So all these lessons came through, and I think that
Hmm.
that's what led to such an incredible, like there's lots of factors that led to such an incredible like birth in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I think that's so beautiful to, yeah, like you said, have those lessons and those experiences because that was your prep into stepping into that motherhood journey, especially for the first time. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that you got to experience it. And I'm curious then, because you had these beautiful experiences on, the spiritual side, lots of ceremony, connecting with the earth and connecting with music for the actual kind of quote unquote practical parts of the pregnancy, were you seeing a provider or were you just doing only these things, free of that system and you just were connected so deeply that you knew what you wanted? Or was it kind of like a dip in between the matrix and out of the matrix as you were navigating this pregnancy?
Yeah, great question. So I had midwives,
Mhm.
um, and I didn't have any bitter taste in my mouth or anything like that around midwifery care.
Mhm.
So at the time I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go with midwives and I'm gonna have a home birth. That was like just that was the plan.
Mhm.
And the midwives that I was with were actually called seventh generation midwives.
Mhm.
So they are an indigenous practice, like their roots, and they're good about like lighting smudge at your birth or honoring different cultural traditions. They because they're rooted in indigenous teachings, they're probably the most open-minded midwifery practice in the city, I'd say. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that was a good fit.
Mhm.
And I did enjoy at that time. I did find it fascinating and fun to go to the prenatal appointment
Mhm.
because it was the provider is the person you can be like, yeah, like you're celebrating. You're like, yeah, I'm 6 months, you know. So like that feedback was actually
Yeah.
quite enjoyable for me at the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
And then what happened was, and then I was also doing this yoga teacher training. Okay, so like this yoga teacher training was also instrumental. I just have to say what worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it was under the lens of the Divine Mother. So
Mhm.
it's like Sananda Devi is the name of the yoga school that I was with, and it was the main teacher was a woman, and all the other teachers in the training were women. And it was under the the ancient teachings of the Divine Mother and the
Mhm.
goddess, and then all the worlds that were birthed through her, and
Mhm.
these like feminine archetypes and not only feminine alone, but it was like the perfect kind of framework for the
Yeah.
yoga. And
Mhm.
there was so much chanting and so many spiritual teachings. And the postures were almost like secondary to the teaching that brings you into the posture, if you
Mhm.
know what I mean. So physically and mentally, emotionally, like there was a lot of meditative states going on
Mhm.
during the pregnancy. And I realized afterwards, going into labor, that that was also prep work for this thing called labor.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I felt that, like, if you're training for a marathon or something, that all of that was the preparation that I needed to have this beautiful labor experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. And did you want to share what your actual birth experience was like?
Sure.
Yeah.
What's funny is that the other day I met a stranger and they're like, I could tell you got stories, and I was like, yes, that's one thing I have. Definitely
I love that.
have stories. Yeah. So anyhow, so then what happens is I finished the yoga teacher training, like graduated the initiation, fine. And then about 10 days later,
Mhm.
went into labor. But
Wow.
I had two due dates, right? So I had a early July, like a July 15th kind of due date, and then I also had a August 15th due date. So
Okay.
it was July 31st, and it had fallen in between the two.
Can I ask why you had the two separate dates?
They had miscalculated,
Ah,
right? So
okay.
initially it was this, and then it was that. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So as in due date was a bit of a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't expecting anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there was one more ceremony that happened the day that we went into labor. So that one was down by the river, and that was all, it was like the Black community, kind of like diasporic community in Toronto. And we were doing these river walks. And there's seven major rivers in Toronto that like could be like trade routes or escape routes or like we were exploring all of the seven major rivers and where they lead and
Mm-hmm.
going on these walks in community with men and women, children, elders, everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were on a river walk and people had instruments and like a conch shell and all this stuff and we're heading down to the river and all these big men, like big men trying to blow the conch shell
Mm-hmm.
and I just in my spirit I knew I could blow it, right? I knew I could make it sound, and so I boldly asked them to pass me the shell, and then
Mm-hmm.
I blew it out, and it just went sound like burk into the universe. And then
Mm-hmm.
all of them were going, "The baby is coming! The baby is coming!" Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like an announcement that the baby. That's what we all, deducted from that
Mm-hmm.
conch shell. And then that day by the river, they gave me a rock from the river and like as a well wishing for the ceremony, for the
Mm-hmm.
birth to come. But I wasn't in labor yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went downtown to Kensington Market, and there's like pedestrian Sunday where everyone dances in the streets.
Yeah.
So we danced for a while, and then I felt really tired, and I asked my partner if we could go home early.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I kind of just I need to go home. Okay, okay. So we go back home, and at the time we are staying at my mother's house, my mom, my dad, my sister, family home. Um, Went home, and then had dinner, bedtime kind of thing. Before bedtime, there was some love making that went on, and then my partner fell asleep, and then after that, I felt like this big surge in
Mm-hmm.
a tightening, hardening, and I thought, that's something. And then half an hour later, it happened again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and so then I'm like pulling out all my books, like, what is this? Is this a contraction? And what should I do if I'm in early labor? And so I like went and I ate something dry toast and peanut butter or something. And then it started to pick up. So then I quietly woke up my partner and he just like fully was just like, he just went into kind of like prayer mode, I would say. Like he just started to light up the smudge and get the space set and like start chanting and stuff. Like that was his
Mm-hmm.
way of supporting. He was
Mm-hmm.
very supportive at the time because it was not micromanaging in any way. It was just
Yeah.
like we just were holding the space, and
Mm-hmm.
he was holding the space strong. And he had that ability, like a really good life death ability, like make home out of earth type of like primal thing that
Mm-hmm.
was so helpful in the birth realm.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just flowed through it. I was dancing, I was moving, I was breathing, I was moaning, I was chanting. I didn't feel any inhibition. I just followed every wave.
Yeah.
And then in the early morning, so this is maybe like 1 a.m. And then in the early morning, I thought, okay, I'll tell my mom that I'm in labor because I was really in it by then.
Okay.
I told my mom, she's like, oh my God, okay, should we call the midwives? So then we called the midwives. And so, like, from that early, like, sunrise morning to maybe 8, 9 a.m., there was this little gap. And I spoke with my midwives, and they said, well, why don't you go into the bathtub and see how you're doing? Like, see if things pick up or if they slow down. Like, just see where you're at, right? So I go into the tub, and essentially they slowed down, like, initially.
Mm-hmm.
And then I rested a bit, and then all of a sudden it pick up, pick up, pick up, and they started to pick up really strong. And
Mm-hmm.
so then now like circling back to all this chanting and all this sound vibration So I found myself going, oh, and like turning it into an ohm, like it was like a
Mm-hmm.
deep guttural, like whale elephant ohm, but
Yeah.
it was helpful and it's all that I had at the time.
Yeah.
And so then my breaking point, I feel my only breaking point where I was like, wait, I can't do this. Just like what's happening was
Mm-hmm.
that the idea of shitting in the bath. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was where I was like, I can't do this. Like I can't. I can't. No. And all my conditioning, your whole life's conditioning of like where to poo and where not to poo comes up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so my partner gets me from the bathtub to the toilet because I was like, I need to go poo. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, that's not poo, honey. That's a head.
Oh, wow.
So it was crowning. And then we made it from the toilet to the bedroom. And then I felt like the urge to kind of squat down like in a birthing squat and just have her like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
realized her head would touch the ground
Mm-hmm.
if I was squatting so low. So then I went onto all fours and
Mm-hmm.
she came up the back and my partner delivered her. And my mom was on the phone with the midwives, but the midwives were like, "There's a bridge, this like bridge down in Pottery Road where once in a blue moon, this thing goes down and that's to stop for the train." So
Mm,
like, of
yeah.
course, when they're there, they get stuck by this train track situation. And anyways, I was so grateful they weren't there
Mm-hmm.
because I had an unattended home birth, free birth, ecstatic birth experience.
Yeah.
And then they arrived like 15 minutes later and were like, "No, please don't sue me." I'm like, no, guys, I'm not gonna sue. This is great.
Mm-hmm. It
This
worked
is,
in your
the
favor.
baby latched. Yeah, it was such a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then the baby was like beautiful and like her dad did all the unwrapping and all the like he unwrapped the cord. He has that kind of instinct and placed the baby on mommy and she
Mm-hmm.
she latched right away and we're very committed to skin and breastfeeding and
Mm-hmm.
baby wearing. So those are things we had in our mind and that's basically how we raised her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, that's
Mhm.
so beautiful. So that sounds like it was quite a quick experience from start to finish. Like about 1 in the morning, you said, is when you started feeling this first sensation. And then I'm assuming baby was born by
It's
that
like nine.
afternoon
Yeah,
or
no,
nine
no,
in the
she was born in the
morning.
morning. She was born before noon. I think
Wow.
my mom wrote
Okay.
it down, I hope.
Wow. That's for a first time mom. Yeah, that's very swift
Yeah,
for an
it was very
experience.
swift.
And you know what? I feel like obviously I don't know. This is just me putting in my own opinion, but
Mhm.
how connected you were to your body. And like you said, you were just following the sensation, the waves that were moving through you. You had the really beautiful support of your partner holding the energy of the space and using meditation and using sound and all of these things. Like to me, that just sounds like you were able to drop in and then you were just in it. And yeah, you just moved through the experience as you were meant to move through it, and you and baby just did it together, and it just happened so swiftly.
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
lovely.
all the elements, there were very good elements aligned for
Mm-hmm.
her book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, and I really feel that force, that it's a force, the birth force, it's so powerful and it's gonna move through us whether we like
Mm-hmm.
no matter what we do, if it's
Mm-hmm.
time for the baby to come, it's time for the baby to come.
Yeah.
And so it was really quite a fascinating experience to just like be a part of it. Like the birth force arrived and I undulated and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, ooh, like just whatever whatever I needed to do to feel it and open to it and manage is
Mm-hmm.
what I did because I had no self consciousness.
Yeah.
There was no outside person questioning me
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So 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 yeah, so it was really powerful.
Wow. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that that was your first experience into
Oh, thank
birthing.
you.
And I'm curious then, what was the birth of your placenta like? Did it happen before the midwives showed up, or did it happen after the fact? Like, how was that experience then?
I'm trying to remember that baby's name is Isla. I think that the delivery of the placenta happened when the midwives had arrived. But
Okay.
I don't remember my partner delivering the placenta. I do remember him cutting the cord,
Mm-hmm.
and I do remember like my mom was probably the most squeamish out of the three of us.
Okay.
She was just like in the doorway, like crying. You know what I mean? Like I just remember her being like, "Oh my god,"
Mm.
um, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was yeah. The placenta for her wasn't a significant memory,
Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right.
but
And
we
then
kept
you,
it and we planted a tree.
oh, you did. Okay. You put it back in the earth.
Yeah, yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Um, and then you
It's
said your
over there
baby.
at my mom's house. She
Okay.
was
So it's
born in
there.
a tree for her.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. That's so special because she'll be able to go back to that. And, that's her tree that's grounded and rooted with her essence right into Mother Earth.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm. That's beautiful.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. And then I was just like even more
Mm.
fascinated and obsessed with birth and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do it again.
Right. Okay. So then tell me, what was that postpartum experience like with this first baby, especially since that birthing experience was so, joyous and ecstatic. How was that? Yeah, coming into those early stages of mothering with this child,
Mm.
with Isla.
Yeah. Um, well, it like we had a container I feel we were working with for the first 10 days. I didn't take visitors, but only those who were living in the home. But like
Mm.
any extended family, we didn't have them come visit that quickly. Um, so that was somehow radical. I heard that hurt a couple feelings,
Mm.
but we were just committed to that. And then what happened was a little dramatic. In the first month, my partner, because he was a wild man, um, my mother was worried about us because he was a bushman and like kind of a roots man, but not like much of a money man.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We are there, we're basking in the newborn energy, and my mom was like, "But how are you going to provide for my daughter?
Mm.
You know, what are you doing here playing the flute?"
Mm. Mm.
You like your provider role is very important right now, and so that ended up in an argument, big
Mm.
argument, and my partner left. So I was
Okay.
just home with the baby, but my partner wasn't living with us anymore. So then
Okay.
I went to go join him when she was maybe about 6 weeks old,
Okay.
and then we had to look for an apartment. Um, and that did happen like pretty smoothly, but there was this in between period where I was choosing him
Mm-hmm.
and leaving my home and leaving my mom, um, and just being like strong, like being tough, being we got this, we know what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
we're good, right? Because we're like really early 20s and we're also very radical in our views. So I think that that's what needed to happen at the
Mm.
time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you for
But with
sharing
the
that.
same intention on my part of keeping the ecosystem for my daughter and for myself at a nice balance, like good pH balance or something, like not too much acid or stress or anger or sadness. Like I really was trying to continue what I had created during pregnancy into the postpartum phase, into the breastfeeding and all of that, like I don't like upsetting children
Mm-hmm.
and babies, and she was very good natured and there was no complications. So like yeah, that was still my objective.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, that's the mothering, excuse me, that's the mothering energy that comes, we all have it as women, whether we have children or not. We mother things into this world. But when it comes to your actual physical babies, yeah, making sure that the energy, the space, to the best of your ability is what you do to tend to that child and for yourself. And you've got to sometimes make drastic decisions, but still hold the faith that it will work out. And yeah, in your case, it did. And it
Mhm.
might not have been the most ideal, situation being so new into that mothering journey with that babe. But, you did do it. And yeah, proud of you for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It felt, yeah, it's fine. Like in hindsight,
Mm-hmm.
that was part of the beginning. Like that was some of the momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So then how long was it between this child, your first daughter, and your next? And what was that experience then coming into this second pregnancy? And what were you feeling like? Oh, because we had this first baby and the midwives weren't even there. Like, what was this narrative that you were
Yes.
carrying between yourself and your partner?
Yes. Oh my God. I love talking about this. This is so great. Like you're here for these details. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I love it. I'm like, tell me everything.
This is great. Yeah. So with my second, so with my first, I adored this baby. I like tied her onto my body all the time until she was ready to walk and run, and
Mhm,
she that kind of like that. This is all the words for it now that I know, like through my time, work, research. But that attachment parenting type
mhm,
of vibe, that's
mhm.
what was happening. So
Yeah.
she was so well adjusted, like just so well adjusted, this
Mhm,
baby.
mhm.
And then when it's time for her to go like crawl off or do something, she's not anxious at all. She just feels safe in the world. So I loved that. And so then I breastfed her, and then I got my moon time back. And then shortly after I conceived, so like
Sorry, can
nurses.
I can I just ask at how many months postpartum did you start bleeding again?
Definitely a full year later, at least. Yeah, at least. And then so then we weren't trying to conceive, but I wanted another one. So
Okay.
I was open and prepared to having. So yeah, it's like he's as close to it being planned
Mhm,
as it gets, I think.
mhm, mhm.
And so then yeah, we conceived, and so then I nursed throughout that entire pregnancy.
Oh wow, okay. Mhm,
Yeah, and then he I had different midwives this time, and I had a different experience with midwives this time at a different clinic
mm,
where my main midwife was a recently graduated student.
okay.
So she was much more nervous and by the book because she's just
Mm,
been holding those books, you know what I mean? So she
yeah.
just came into the practice with all of this book knowledge or
Mhm,
whatever,
yeah.
and she was nervous, and I made her nervous,
Okay.
you know? And I'm not sure because when we come about free birthing in color, it's like we're a young Black family,
Mhm,
and this practice was primarily white practitioners.
yeah.
There wasn't that cultural reference point happening. And although it was an indigenous reference point, it's like there's a lot of intersections over there.
Mhm,
Versus in this practice, I'm not sure what their stance was on all on that, like cultural preferences and things.
right.
So I denied everything,
Mhm,
right? They'd offer me a test, I'd deny it. They'd offer an ultrasound, I'd deny it. In the previous pregnancy, that was never an issue. It was
yeah.
informed choice. Whereas in this one, every time I denied something, I felt that she would spend another half an hour trying to tell me the risks and the
Yeah.
reasons, the 1 in 10,000 reason I should be worried, I should have fear,
Right.
right? And so I wasn't feeling that.
Mhm,
So we were not at odds, but just like not well suited.
Mm-hmm.
There was an older midwife who was the backup midwife, and I had a much easier relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it wasn't like it was no sweat because I wasn't really gonna budge anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But we did do some blood work at one point because they thought I had something with the thyroid. So it was either hypo or hyper or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the blood work came back and it turned out that I was hypothyroid. Okay. So I go into this whole panic, as you do when they tell you something's wrong. And you
Mm-hmm.
start researching, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my baby? What do I need to eat? What do I need to supplement? Like I just went right into, I identified with this
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis. The
Okay.
next time I get my blood checked, it already had leveled out because, as we know now, it fluctuates hormonally with your body temperature. Like, who cares? It's not stationary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had that experience of being thrown into a scare only to
Mm.
realize that it was a kind of misdiagnosis. And
Right.
so that
Yeah.
was another part of it. So when it came closer to his birth, now his birth story, totally different, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Totally different story. So I'm there, like nursing my baby. I have this experience with him where they've got this thrift store, like like Goodwill or Value Village, Salvation Army type of vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like 9 months pregnant. Me and my partner and the baby are in the Value Village looking around at stuff. But because we're artists and we're into the little things, it's like, oh, look at this basket. This basket's so amazing, right? Like we really like look at things and take the
Mm-hmm.
time. So my partner's busy looking at all the details of the basket weaving on this thing, and I'm just starting to feel like really tired
Mm.
and really edgy and really kind of like, I gotta go, I gotta go. But
Yeah.
there was this one doll in the far corner, and it was speaking to me, this doll, and it was like, I think it's a Maasai doll, like the Maasai warrior tribe. Like it's like a
Yeah.
traditional African doll, but it's made
Mm.
tall and slender, and it
Right. Yeah.
has like
Yeah.
the beadwork and has the long hair. And anyways, this doll was speaking to me in the
Mm-hmm.
Value Village. It was almost like glowing. It was
Mm.
almost like it was like I was hallucinating, and this doll was calling me over and
Right.
had like an extra life force to it that I
Mm.
can't describe. So I had to have her. And to me, she represented Kalima,
Okay.
like the goddess of death and destruction, also birth, but a lot
Yeah.
like more severing the heads of the ego. So
Mm-hmm.
Kali, this Kali energy, this doll was calling me also through my pregnancy. So I got that doll, and then I went home and I set up an altar around her,
Mm.
and I started to do like Kalima chanting. And then so that was the turning point. That was my early labor. So
Okay.
I had some contractions during that time, and they kept coming and they kept coming. So at that time we were living in this like beautiful apartment, but it was a sunken first level, so it's really in the ground, but it had enough window that it has light.
Mm.
And we had it set up like a studio, so the open wooden floor was like the main room was open and beautiful. So I'm in that main room and like lighting candles, setting up the altars, getting in the zone, kind of like getting in between states
Mm.
in early labor. And then I had a nap, my labor stopped. Oh no. So then, I wake back up. I'm like, where did the contractions go? Okay, so, but then I have my parents on call because I've got a toddler now. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
2-year-old. So they took Isla for her first sleepover because mommy was in labor, right? So
Mm-hmm.
she's with them. She's away from me. Now my labor stopped and I've got childcare. I'm like, oh God. So then I called the midwives and I'm like, I think, and they're like, well, it could happen today. It could happen 10 days from now, and I was like, 10 days. And like something in me I just couldn't. Like I could not accept 10 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
I somehow needed to keep this labor going. So then in this labor, we did everything in our power to keep it going. So I
Okay.
drank my tea, we made love, nipple stimulation, oxytocin letdowns, like everything to keep this thing churning.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did. So I feel like we literally like kept summoning the labor in. Like
Mm-hmm.
that went on for 3 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah. And it's not that it was painful. It was very gentle. It was very gentle and very like I really learned a lot about labor during that one because I had so much time in the energy. So
Okay.
that was a huge gift.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was absolutely a profound gift to spend so much time in the portal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how much that meant to me. And so by the time the active labor is coming in now and kicking in, we had decided that we weren't going to call these midwives because I wasn't crazy about their vibe.
Right.
Like I and the last conversation I had had with her was she's like, you can call me if you want. You don't have to call me. But I'm just saying, like, she was just like, she kind of got that I might not be calling her there. And
Right.
that, yeah, so we kind of
Mm-hmm.
had a weird little agreement around that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but at the very last minute, my partner was my midwife, my doula, my person. But who's going to help him,
Mm.
right? So he needed an extra pair of hands.
Right.
And we were going to call on our neighbors who lived in the same building complex, but it was 3 a.m. or so, and they weren't aware of our calls. So that's when we called the midwives, just because we needed like backup or something, right?
Yeah.
So they arrived, and yeah, maybe like 2:12 a.m., 2 in the morning, something like this. And they came, and I was already on fours, all fours, ready to push.
Mm.
And so when they came into that scene, it's a bit hectic for
Okay.
them, but it wasn't the original midwife. She wasn't even able to come. It was a backup I'd never met before, a person I'd never met.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she came and, oh my God, no, don't push, don't push. Like, wait, like, let us set up first, kind of thing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I have to push, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just like pushing this baby up anyways, and to catch the baby, and then the baby wasn't looking too hot. Low APGAR score. Now that I know what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not good color, not good tone, and very small. And so all of a sudden the energy shifted, and they cut the cord
Mm.
abruptly and whisked the baby over to the little like resuscitation station that they had created, like with a baking sheet, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, da, 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 da. And then I'm sitting in an orb, a surround, like a bubble of light,
Mm-hmm.
like a orb, and I'm just birthed my baby,
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the ground in my fluids and my blood, and like I've never been in such profound peace. You know, it was hard to describe, but this realm. And then I see over there the stuff with my baby happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear the father going, that baby doesn't need your textbooks. This is not a science experiment. That baby needs his mother.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Doesn't need your textbooks. That's so true. It just needs mom. Baby needs to be on the heart, on the breast.
Come on. And then all these weird rites where when the husband speaks, they have to listen, like all these like archaic
Mm-hmm.
rites that we need to know more about.
Yeah.
So he said so they had to, and they brought the baby over to me, and he re-entered the orb. And
Mm.
lo and behold, this little baby, he
Mm-hmm.
just pinks right up. He just like,
Yeah.
he just fluffs up. All his color comes in. His
Mm-hmm.
eyes are wide open.
Mm-hmm.
He is not crying. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like some little creature, he just makes his way to the breast. This
Mm-hmm.
little tiny lizard or whoever, whatever, this tiny being, he just crawls his way and self latches and just
Yeah.
starts feeding like a champion.
Yeah.
Because I think it might have been my placental placement, or I still don't quite know what was happening with him
Mm.
because he was full term baby, but he
Yeah.
was low birth weight.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so
How
he was
much?
under 5 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He was like 4'11".
Okay.
Yeah, and so in that case, there's the protocol that they call the paramedics if
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
baby is under 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a home birth. It was all that's true.
Yeah.
And then at the very last minute, they called the paramedics because that's
Mm.
just their protocol. So
Yeah.
then with that boy, we spent a night in the local hospital, but that was a blessing in disguise because I'll tell you this part. I'm there, I'm holding this baby, I'm in my orb, he's nursing, I'm just like, we're good, guys, we're good, right? But then these like paramedics arrive, and all I remember is these like big black boots and like black pants walking into my apartment and like coming into the orb. I'm like, oh hey. So then this lady, it looked like it was all men, and then one of the paramedics crouches down, and it's this woman. And she's like, don't worry, you just hold that baby. She gives him a little oxygen. She's just like, her energy is beautiful. And then she proceeds to tell me the story about her baby was 4 pounds something ounces, was a scare at birth, but now is the captain of her soccer team. And she's 14 years old and is a total champion. And she gave me that little story, and that was all I needed. And like, it's funny how I was like, oh, paramedics, but like, that was that angelic voice that I needed
Yeah.
entered through them, right? So we
Yeah.
traveled to the hospital, and then the other cool thing was that the head of that unit was very pro breastfeeding and pro like she was kind of like ahead of her time or something. And so when we got there, she just said, "Here, come follow me." And they took us to a small room, quiet room, off of the wing where none of the nurses are in and out and in and out and in. No, they almost gave us like this like hidden wing, and we
Mm-hmm.
just rested in there. And then they had to check his blood sugar to make sure, because those little tiny guys, their blood sugar might plummet. But I kept him on me, and I kept him nursing,
Mm-hmm.
and lo and behold, his blood sugar was great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he is like. So then they released us, and the blessing in that story is that I had access to this like gorgeous south-facing window,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a double rainbow in the morning, and his name means rainbow. So then the double rainbow came through because his name was given to us in the sweat lodge during pregnancy. So we had to find a way to say like rainbow thunderbolt in some
Yeah.
language of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the double rainbow. And then we
Wow.
found his name, which is Ayabo.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's that baby. And then that
Yeah.
baby, I feel, I have to say this, it's like he did a lot of his growing outside of the womb.
Yeah.
So he left, and then like a little baby kangaroo, I tied him on skin to skin naked for the first 3 months,
Yeah.
and he just fed himself back up to a good weight.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, so
I
that's
love
Ayabo.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and such a good, powerful name, Ayabo. That's so beautiful. Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like
Uh,
dying. This is so great.
and for this, so for Ayabo, do you remember your placental birth of this baby? Did it happen at home? Did it happen when you were transferred to the hospital, or do you know
No,
what?
it happened at home.
Okay.
It happened easily, beautifully at home in an extension of that whole scene
Right.
before the people came. And
Right.
we also
Okay.
kept it. We also planted a
Hmm.
tree.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Two very different stories from first to second that you have to share, and just, yeah, the
Yes.
different energies, different lessons. Like you're saying, with the second, you really got to understand and learn about the birth process because you were in it for that time. And it was the longer period of time for this baby to come through. And wow, yeah. I love I love the contrast of both of the stories because they both just carry such potent medicine in their own ways for you especially. Yeah, it's
Thank
really,
you.
really cool to hear them.
There's a piece that I forgot
Mm,
that connects Isla to Ayabo.
mm,
So because it happened for a couple of days,
mm-hmm,
that birthing, my parents brought her home to come visit us.
Right.
because the baby hadn't come yet. So she came back. She wanted mommy. She wanted boobies,
Mm.
you know? So she came and then she was nursing, and that's what sent me into transition. When she
Ah.
came home to have milk,
Yeah.
that suckling was what
Mm.
took me over and brought me into active labor. So I was
Wow.
also so grateful to my daughter
Yeah.
with that stop and start, like that was the final push that I needed to
Hmm.
keep going.
Yeah. So then was she there and she witnessed Ayabo be
No,
born?
she had her nursing session, and then afterwards I was really in it
Okay.
after that. And so then that I remember the look on my dad's face, like, okay, time to go,
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
then they whisked her away. And then
Okay.
after that, for that when she wasn't there, she
Mm.
was there for all the others. But
Okay.
yeah, and then they when once he was born, my so she's a toddler, 2.5, 3, kind of that age range. They spent the first year nursing together. So I nursed in
Oh.
tandem, and they used to hold hands. The little toddler girl and the newborn baby, they used to hold hands like this, and I'd like throw
Oh.
a shawl over both of them. And
Oh.
they're like twins. They're not. They're very close to this
Yeah.
day.
Mm.
They were very, very close friends to this day.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love that. They're bonded in such a special way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so
Yeah. Isn't that
beautiful.
so cute? They're adorable. Like they need each other. They have a whole
Mm.
contract here.
Hmm. Wow. Oh, that's precious. That's so precious. Oh, wonderful. Aw. And did you want to, so then that beautiful experience of this baby Ayabo and then, tandem breastfeeding with his elder sister Isla there, then what was it like then moving into this next pregnancy?
Okay. So now I've got the two, and I think that natural spacing was what was happening. So there was
Mm.
pregnancy, birth, breastfeeding, blood comes in, and then like a conception. And
Hmm.
then so with Ayabo, same thing. He nursed and he nursed and he nursed. I didn't have my moon for quite some time. Then it came in, and then we had a conception. So he is also 2.5, almost 3 years older than his sibling that came next.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so I also nursed throughout that pregnancy. If I'm not mistaken, it's a little foggy there.
Mm.
And then that pregnancy, like, so this is my third pregnancy, and it was exciting. So it was different. It was a different vibe, right?
Mm.
It was like this combination of like with Ayabo, everyone was like, of course you're gonna have a second. Like she needs a sibling. Like you know what I mean? Like it was like
Hmm.
the world and the family and everybody understood and agreed that a sibling is in order, right? And so, but then with the third, it wasn't the same type of feedback because
Okay.
now, I guess in this modern society, now we're getting into like, whoa, like you guys are gonna have 3 kids, that's a lot. And there was a
Hmm.
little bit of pushback from World and Sam. But
Hmm.
then at the same time, we had established a really strong community by then.
Okay. Yeah.
So we were leaders in our community.
Hmm.
We had lots of friends around mothers and children, and
Hmm.
I'd attended some other births by that point as a birth worker.
Hmm.
And then like the music and the communities and like all of this was really, really active and alive and well. So
Hmm.
that community was so happy for us. And that's really
Mm.
all that mattered because that was more my day to day world.
Right. Yeah.
So, and also I wanted to mention that throughout those babies stages, I was teaching yoga part time, but I'd bring my nursing babes with me to go and teach yoga, right? So the body still had, like, the alignment was still being accessed. Like, my practice was still really alive. So the health, I had a good health, I want to say. So So with my third pregnancy, there was a lot of community, a lot of ceremony, like in a different way, and a lot of singing, kind of new songs. There is a specific indigenous community that we were really like hooked up with and family with, and like we were taking over this small triplex slowly but surely. So like this family's in that apartment, this family's in that apartment. This is like a communal living was going well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and there was just some good things happening, and so with that delivery, but then at the time when I was okay, so then fast forward, we were camping. We did a lot of time on the land with these
Mm-hmm.
babies too, in a teepee or in tents.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time in my pregnancy, we were camping down by this river called the Rouge River, which is like the outskirts of Toronto. It's not even that big a deal, but
Yeah.
it's conservation land, so it's very lush and green, and there's deer, and like we swim in the river, and it's a beautiful
Yeah.
place. So we were down there, and this is our happy place. And I had set up a birthing tent down there, and I wanted to have my baby in the forest. And so for this pregnancy, I didn't have any care provider,
Okay.
especially because of the last experience, like having
Mm-hmm.
to always explain myself. I just thought,
Mm-hmm.
nah, who needs that, you know?
Yeah.
So I didn't have a midwife. I didn't have a care provider. I had a total organic pregnancy. And then I was planning on having him out in the forest, and I had a whole plan of like hanging from the tree branches and squatting down.
Yeah.
That's just what I could see.
Yeah.
And I was committed to that. And yeah, and friends from the community came by our fireplace that night because we always had a fire going, so we were outside. And so they came by the fire and they brought some like teas and some medicines and things. And this older woman, a friend of mine, who was grown, she's like, yeah, well, if anything happens, like if you ever any change of plan, you can always have the baby at my house, like just my door is open, blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. It was all the best because I was in early labor, but I was still like
Mm-hmm.
hanging out. And so we go to sleep that night, and there's a big rainstorm kicks up in the night. And it starts to rain, then it starts to pour, then it starts like torrential downpour. And before I had gone to bed, I had set up this red birthing tent, like as a place where I could rest in between hanging from the forest trees. And it had so many blankets. Like I put all of our best blankets were padded up in there. And the
Mm-hmm.
tent, when the sun shines in it, it is red, so it had like a red tent vibe.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah, so nice, right? So nice. And so I go check on my birthing tent. Man, the water had soaked up through the ground, up through the blankets. Everything was wet. I
Oh.
was up to my shins in rainwater.
Oh
And I'm
no.
barefoot by the river. The river was rising. The water around my ankles, everything was washed out in a beautiful way, though,
Yeah.
because guys, you know why? Because the labor force and the storm were one.
Mm.
I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With all this water rising around me, all the blah, blah, blah. I was just like simply just a vessel for all of
Mm.
these forces that were going on, and it was
Yeah.
so incredible, right? It
Yeah.
was so incredible. I didn't have to lift a pinky finger, like it was just happening. And so I had to come up with the plan B because I didn't want to receive the baby in damp conditions because it's hard
Yeah.
for us to get warm and dry out there.
Yeah.
So I woke up my partner who was sleeping, and we're all in the tent in the one bed, like co-sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke him up and I told him, yeah, I'm in labor. And then he's like, okay, so I'm like, so we should go to Penny's. We
Mm-hmm.
should go to Penny and Nick's house, which is across the city, like completely other side of town, like on
Okay.
the beach. Yeah. So
Wow.
then I woke up the kids, and and I have to say that Isla, my baby who was 5 by then,
Mm-hmm.
is she was my doula. She was just like tuned in to my contractions, my body. She was laying her little hands on me, laying her hands on my back, on my belly. Like her energy went into like straight, calm nurture mode. It was
Mm-hmm.
incredible. No fear, just
Mm-hmm.
presence. So beautiful. So this girl, I just can't forget how she was during that. And then we
Mm-hmm.
got in a taxi because we didn't drive. So we call a taxi down into the valley. Can't barely find us. We drive across town and watched the sunrise. And the storm had subsided, of course.
Hmm.
The sun rose, the sky cleared up. And for some reason, during that ride across town, maybe it's in a 45 minutes, hour, my contractions stopped. So I
Okay.
just had this surreal moment of like watching the sunrise on this journey, and my contractions stopped.
Hmm.
And then we arrived at Penny and Nick's house, and they're like, "Welcome!" No questions asked. No, that they just come in. We've got the coffee on. They had already
Yeah.
started boiling water, making tea, making coffee, and they were kind of like a hub for community. So then that way, my partner could call his bros. They tie up a drum. They start drumming and chanting downstairs. Penny's like, "You want to go?" She goes, "Make yourself at home. This is the room that I had my three sons in." So this,
Mm.
she had birthed her three sons in there. They're all in their 20s now. So I go up to the
Wow.
birthing room, and she's like, "Make yourself at home." So then I brought all my altar items, and like I untied. I had
Hmm.
these waist beads. I untied I unscrewed the jars. I undid the knots, and like
Yeah.
was really tapped into that teaching of no blockage, like open
Yeah.
channel. And so
Yeah.
I untied everything. I set up everything, and as soon as the last thing was untied, the contractions came back.
Oh,
So within
wow.
an hour of arriving at Penny's, the contractions just kicked right up and in. And then I had one friend who was doing her midwifery training, and she had just graduated as a midwife. So in my ninth month, I was like, "Usha, will you be my midwife?" And she's like, oh, she's like, "Elisha, like what the heck?" you know? But she had agreed to it the week before and
Hmm.
kind of like wrangled me into her clinic last minute. So,
Hmm.
anyways, Usha was supposed to come, but she didn't make it in time. But other people lived in the neighborhood, so they came by, and like my good friend to this day caught my baby, and the kids were in the room, and my partner was there, and it was like very communal, very
Hmm.
much a community birth. There
Mm.
was food cooking, songs being sung, and like I know, and then so I learned later that day that in the Mayan calendar, like of that day, it was the day of community.
Oh,
Yeah, and
wow.
like this guy, he didn't want to be born alone in the forest.
No.
Where's my people?
Yeah. Gather them up, bring them all in. I love that.
you
Wow.
know?
Wow.
Yeah, so he gathered the people. We had such a nice birth. And my when my friend arrived, she asked me, "What do you want me to do?" And she smelled so good. Like I just remember, like she must have just showered because her hair smelled amazing. And I was like she was my second wind. And she's like, "What do you need me to do?" I'm like, "You stay here. Let him catch the. Or oh no, I need him here. You catch the baby, or something like that." Like we came
Yeah.
up with some understanding of who would do what.
Hmm.
And the children got to see that guy be born, so that was really cool. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Oh, that
And my two
sounds
and a half year old son, Ayabo, he
Mhm.
weaned himself that day.
Really.
The day his brother came, he's
Hmm.
like, "Nope, that's for the baby. That's for the
Wow.
small, slimy alien," as he called him.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the best. That was a great one, too, right?
Yeah. Like you said, it was a community birth. And sometimes I hear women speak to, we had a lot of people at the birth. My family members were there, my friends or whomever. And, it's a big gathering of people and it can kind of be disruptive to the birth process, but it always depends on the type of people that are there. And like you said, you came to this woman's home. She guided you to the room where she had previously birthed her babies, even though it was 20 years ago or plus, it still has that energy of that home birth feel and having the people downstairs. You said cooking food and making music and singing and chanting. I can just imagine looking at that house from the outside and probably just seeing this beautiful glowing light, just encapsulating that whole space that you were in, and just knowing that this energy, like everyone was there for that journey that you were on, that experience to support it, to give their love into it. And it just is like, wow, that sounds so incredible.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
Hmm.
And it's funny that you said that glowing from the house, like what you said and what you saw,
Mm,
because there was another friend in the community who had come to the fire the night before, right?
mm,
Lucia, and she's a
mm,
seer. She's like a psychic, like a healer.
mm,
And she said the night that I was in labor and the rain was falling, she said she felt guilty to go to sleep. So she said she walked and she stayed up all night praying and she walked around in the rain and stuff. That's where in
mm,
her neighborhood. And
mm-hmm,
that she saw these orbs of light in the sky that were like it was lightning, but the
mm.
lightning didn't come in a crack. It came in a circle, like a big
Um,
flashing. And she wasn't the only one who saw these like lightning balls. And I think there
mm-hmm,
was four of them. I can't remember the number, but it was
mm.
so profound that she reported back to me what she'd experienced in the night. So
Wow.
when you said that, that tied me back to that piece.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Yeah. And again, just another completely different birth story to the first two that it's it's wild. I'm like, wow, where is it gonna go? What's gonna happen? It's so cool. And so I'm curious then, this baby, the third, what is this child's temperament like? Is this child very open and, very people person? I'm curious.
Yeah, well, this is Irie, and he's a
Irie.
boy.
Mm,
Um, and like he's a real sweetheart, and I feel like Irie had the most, I want to say like divination. I don't know how to
mm,
say this. Like it was the pregnancy, birth, and baby that had like a lot of elder input. Like
mm,
people going like, this boy,
mm,
like he's like this. He's a
mm,
grandfather. Give him what he needs. He's an elder. Don't talk down to him. Like there was always like this like kind of messaging around him being an old one,
mm,
and so he has that. And how that shows up for me with him now, because he's a teenager now, right?
mm,
It's just like he doesn't take well to societal conditioning.
mm.
He has a hard time, like, he has a hard time accepting societal norms
Yeah.
and top down authority. He can't. He just, he can see through it. So
Mm-hmm.
his whole thing is kind of like if there's an adult in authority, but the adult is a liar, or
Mm.
the adult is coming from a place of power over,
Yeah.
he just he doesn't give them the respect that they're probably expecting. So it
Mm-hmm.
can be
Yeah.
like a little bit challenging at times.
Mm-hmm.
And then also he is very like people oriented.
Yeah.
So he likes his alone time, but he feels it more than the others. The others can be on their own for days and days. Like that first one, Isla, she's like the wolf. Like she's just like she's self possessed. Like she doesn't need anybody. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
Irie really feels like if he hasn't seen his friends today or tomorrow, he's really feeling it. He
Mm-hmm.
loves the people. He loves when
Yeah.
everyone's home.
Yeah.
Um, and he was very like a little. He took after his dad in the sense of like the bushman tendencies.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was a real little like digging in the dirt. He can like chop wood like a man,
Mm-hmm.
make a fire. He's very that
Mm-hmm.
was in his early childhood. Now that
Yeah.
we're inner city teenagers, he doesn't have like access to that life anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel that that's his talents are there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it does that elder energy that you're saying everyone was calling in and saying for him. That seems to fit for his birth because elders love to have the ceremony and, to have the space to be witnessed and to witness and to offer support and guidance. And it's like that was his birth, at least how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
He created what he needed and it was all there. Yeah, it's so incredible.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
as you say that too, it makes me feel because I mean, there's all the stories now. There's all these other chapters and all these other stories that have happened
Mm-hmm.
since then. And I'm just so grateful for these strong birth stories because it anchors me. It's a
Hmm.
reminder of how pure we started.
Yeah.
Like I'm so grateful that it wasn't also a traumatic birth and now a hard life. Like give me something. you know but he's more open to like if there's a guidance counselor or like an agency or someone to talk to or whatever, like he's the most he's very open to that. Like that it's not all just going to come from me. That there's this greater community that he is learning to turn to for support. He's not closed to it. He's open to it, which I
Yeah.
think is cool.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And then I just want to ask again to his birth, the placenta. So how was that birth? And then did you also bury this one? Mhm.
So then, with his placenta, I enjoyed delivering the placenta. I just love delivering placentas in general. This is a generalization. It's such a relief, right? It's like compared to that bony, hard baby skull, this placenta just comes out like a warm jello. It's such a relief. And so I was happy with him because he got to have really delayed cord clamping, as did the first, whereas the Abby had to get cut pretty quickly. Um, so I was happy about that. And then that baby also has a tree planted for him. Yeah, and the placenta thing, it's like going now that I support other women in birth and I see all the different things we can do with placentas. Um, I do kind of wish that I'd done the placenta encapsulation with at least one of them.
Okay.
Like that's how I feel now after having
Mm,
four kids.
hmm.
My body's like, yo, you should have eaten at least one of those. Yeah.
Aw, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So then this postpartum with this third and then leading into your fourth babe, what was that experience like?
Yeah. There's a story in between
Hmm.
that I think needs to be told.
Hmm.
So that baby was born. We were at the campground. We were in between places.
Hmm.
Um, and then we were supposed to be moving on to this land where, like, this Rastafari church has land up in the Halliburton area, and they don't have a steward on their land. So my partner, who's part of that group, had organized to be the steward of the land and move me and the kids up there, and we were going to live off grid and start from this just little trailer that they had and then build up, tend the land, and that was the plan for
Yeah.
Irie's birth upon Irie's arrival.
Okay.
Somehow that plan fell through. It didn't end up happening, and so we needed to find somewhere to be. So we rented a house for 6 months through friends of the family in a smaller place, which is called Oshawa, whatever. So we were like in a slightly random part, but not too far. We did the postpartum period through this like fall and winter in Oshawa. We had a whole house to ourselves, and then our family and friends would come and visit us there. So it was a lot quieter postpartum period because we were further away and it was winter, but it was still quite beautiful. I have fond memories of that time. And then after that, we did some woofing, which is like you work on a farm for room and board. So we did some woofing for about a month or a couple of months, and the baby was 6 months at that point. And so I couldn't really work the farm, but I did cooking. So I'd have the baby in the kitchen with me, and I'd do the cooking. The kids would be around me, but they could also go run around in the fields and help their dad, like clear a lot and pull weeds and whatever. Like so that's what was happening there. So that was pretty cool transition. And then we were staying on the farm and doing the woofing. And then I don't know when to interject this, but I will. I was starting to have more difficulty with my partner by this stage of the story because he was wild and free and beautiful and everything, but a little bit mentally unstable. So as our pressure increased, his kind of like he started to unwind in not so great a way. Um, so I was starting to see more signs of this. by the time Irie had arrived.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the things, just putting it out there. So one of the things was he felt a ways with the head farmer where we were staying, who was like his friend, but then it wasn't his friend. Like these like external, still not me, but like
Hmm.
more falling out with people.
Right,
So
okay.
he had a falling out with the farmer where we were staying apparently, and he's like, "We gotta go tomorrow." I'm like, "What?" So, anyways, during that time, I was having like, so we stayed here and there, like we did the like here and there type of stuff after the farming.
Hmm.
And then I was having these dreams about rigging up bicycles in a way where I could travel with my children because I don't
Hmm.
drive. And another side note, my partner was a sun dancer. So there's a ceremony called sun dance,
Yeah.
and he was a sun dancer, and he had a 4-year commitment in northern Manitoba. So
Hmm.
every year we were making our way to Sundance once a year, some way somehow, right?
Hmm.
And this year we didn't know how we were getting out there, but I was like, we should ride our bikes to Sundance. And he was like, are you crazy? And I was like, no, no, I keep having this vision, right? So
Yeah.
then that's what we did. So we got bikes and we rigged up wagons. So there was like a cargo wagon where he'd carry all of the stuff, the fire kit, the pot. Yeah, we rigged up so his wagon, he carried all the gear, the tents, the axe, the.
Hmm.
Then my wagon carried the kids and then like a couple blankets and
Hmm.
their coloring book. And then it had a baby seat for the baby who's now 9 months. That's Irie,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
then we went on this journey and we rode our bikes from Toronto to northern Manitoba and with the
Wow.
3 babies.
Oh
And
my
we would
gosh.
camp every night. And we'd try to find a campground, but if we couldn't, we would be on Crown land or like hiding on someone's farmer's field. Like so
Wow. What an adventure. And how long did that take you?
it took us 2 months to get where we were going. Yeah,
Wow.
it
Wow.
took us 2 months. It was the best thing ever.
Hmm.
So that baby was nursing and learning to walk and crawl all on that trip.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And then we made it out to, and then of course, like you meet a lot of people, and like the adventure itself
Hmm.
was its own stories within stories. But
Hmm.
then by the time we got to Sundance, we were like, whew, we've arrived.
Yeah.
There to
Wow.
suffer, and we're like, we've already suffered. We're here to celebrate.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's that story ties us into like life and movements and things that came after and some death and some things like that and so me and my partner having some miscarriages, some
Mm.
miscarriages, instability, me being a single mom for a couple of chapters
Okay.
and then getting back together. And so I got back together with him. I'll skip all of that, but like we got back together one last time, and this is when Irie, that baby, was
Okay.
5 years old. So I had the three of them. My youngest was 5, and me and their dad tried to reconcile one more time. And I conceived in that reconciliation stage, I guess, or
Hmm.
like honeymoon phase.
Hmm.
And um, yeah, and so I really committed to that one because the miscarriages and like there was some loss in between where the relationship was overwhelming me
Hmm.
and I didn't think having another baby was the right thing to do
Right.
and I really didn't feel up for that already and I like begged the divine mother not right now, I just can't do this right now,
Hmm.
and then I like subsequently lost the baby
Hmm.
after all that and so had kind of like these conscious miscarriages.
Yeah.
experiences that I'd love to talk about another time, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But then, so upon this conception, some years later, I just said, okay, okay, fine. I felt like it was the same baby, perhaps, or the same similar spirit that had come a couple times already, a girl. So that I just cherished her and this pregnancy, although the world's starting to crumble around me. Um, we were in a good phase, me and my partner, for a little while, but then it started to quickly go downhill. So during that pregnancy, he was more suspicious, more like condemning, violent, and not supportive in the way that I had experienced with my others. So that
Mm-hmm.
was an interesting journey because I really, really had to lean into the divine mother connection that
Mm-hmm.
me and my baby and my children, despite external conditions, are sacred, blessed, loved, meant to be here, protected, divine, like the lotus,
Mm-hmm.
So this lotus teaching came in so hard from the mud,
Mm-hmm.
from all of this mud I was going through.
Yeah.
The children had dreamt a lotus blossom. My partner had dreamt it. Everyone was seeing like this electric blue lotus. And they didn't trade stories. It just came up a few times. And
Okay.
I
Yeah.
felt that this baby inside was this energy.
Yeah.
So one of her names is Padmani, which means lotus in Sanskrit.
Mm-hmm.
And the other name that I had called her inside my womb was Imani, which is faith. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had just connected this extreme faith with this one. And yeah, and so that was a powerful journey as well. But I was battling quite a bit of external, like I was worried that she wouldn't be okay
Right.
because I wasn't okay
Mm-hmm.
and my circumstances were not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was just praying that she'd be absolutely protected, right?
Yeah.
And so that pregnancy was a bit more rough emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so by the time I'd gone through the 9 months, I'd kind of like I had an apartment for me and the kids because we were coming out of a single mom journey,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my own place. But then he had his own place, like 20 minutes, half an hour away, not too far. And it was a shop, and it was also had sleeping quarters in the basement.
Yeah.
So we were spending more and more time with him at the shop because this relationship I was realizing was like an all or nothing relationship. Like me holding a separate autonomy was like war, like it was
Okay.
like a disrespect. So to be safe, my safety depended on my like ride or die loyalty with him. So we were around him in his quarters, in his realms more than we had been in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And getting close to the birth and a bunch of stuff was going on. And I danced a lot during that pregnancy. I have to say, I did a lot of West African dance and drumming with this like dance master who was in town. And somehow the dances were coming through me like, they're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What? How are you doing this right now? But it was just something about the baby and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, some powers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was happening. And then I remember I was starting to nest really hardcore. And I was also feeling overwhelmed about like we were homeschooling, okay? So I was homeschooling the children, but I had 3 children and my relationship is a bit tumultuous. And I thought, we can't just have the babies home with us
Mm-hmm.
if you're fighting all the time. They need to go to some child-friendly spaces where they just practice their ABCs and like use building blocks. Like they don't need this all the time. This is not homeschooling. This is just like I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what this is, but this has to change. So that was
Mm-hmm.
one of my fights that I was fighting for was like just to put them in school, not because I want to throw them in the system, but because I needed a break, right? And I needed them to be somewhere else so that they were safe too. So that was one of the fights that we have. And finally, like all of a sudden in this pregnancy, he went on a trip. He comes back. He's like, you know what? We should sign the kids up for school. The kids need to be in school. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, thank you for your blessing on that. So all of a sudden, we've got them enrolled for September, and I
Hmm.
was due in September.
Okay.
Long story short, my kids are in school. Got a little bit of a break. I want to paint my apartment, the one up the road that I'm kind of neglecting because I'm mostly in his space these days. But I don't. I want my apartment to feel good, and I needed it to be this color and that color, like very specific, like mango and like lavender, like really
Hmm.
specific colors. And I had bought the paint, and all I needed was for him to do it, to paint
Yeah.
it. So I couldn't be around the fumes. I'm pregnant.
Hmm.
Finally, he he agrees to do it, and he calls some of his brethren, and they go to paint the apartment. But like in my pleading and like, please just help me, I started crying and I was very emotional, and that set me into labor.
Mm, okay. Yeah.
My upset, I feel, set off the labor.
Mm.
So that was distressful. And
Hmm.
and he's like, okay, 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 yeah, 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 I'll paint the apartment, but you go and watch the shop. So we traded spots, we swapped. So I'm sitting down in the shop in the easy chair, like where we sell crafts, drums, arts and crafts drums, stuff. And my water broke in the easy chair.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay. And I just stayed there in my little pool. And I just labored and I just stayed in this like zone. And luckily, not too many customers came in. Um, and it was perfect because like some moms from the community that I mentioned before were still in my circle in my orbit, and the school that my kids went to was the First Nations school. It's like
Mm.
it's an alternative school. So those moms in that community was like, oh my god, okay, you're in labor, okay, I'll keep them at my house a little bit longer, and like still community was there, right?
Yeah.
So apartments being painted, I'm going into active labor. I'm at the shop. I have a midwife this time. Called the midwife. She was chill. I like this lady. So she comes to check me out at the shop, and she discovers meconium in the water,
Okay.
right? And so
Hmm.
she's like, well, because I'm thinking like, because I had some yoga mats in the other room. Like I could have technically pushed the baby out there, but it has windows open to street level. Okay, there's no proper blinds, so it would have been a lot.
Yeah, I don't really want to be putting on a show for all the
Are you kidding?
passerbys.
No,
Hey.
no. So when she was like, well, once there's poop in the water, the call that the midwives have to make is to take you to their local facility. So I was grateful because there's wet paint back home, window, street view over where I am. So let's go. Let's go to St. Mike's. I was like, who cares? I don't fucking care. Like at that point, the birth location meant nothing by number four, which actually cracks me up. you know, so that was funny to me because it's like, yeah, like it's gonna happen. I don't care where I am. It's happening, and I'm fine. That's how I felt. So then the same brethren who were helping paint the apartment came back, and then they drove. And so the man who was driving is actually another angel in the story. Who he's like a father of nine or something. So he drove over every bump. Gentle,
Mm, yeah.
gentle, so kind. To this day, if I see him, I just like cry because he was so kind that night,
Oh,
And he
yeah.
parked and he waited. I didn't know this until after. He waited the whole damn time, and then he drove us home. And I, that's after, but
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah. So we got to the hospital downtown Toronto, like Queen by the Eaton Center for anyone.
Oh yeah, I know
It's
where that
busy
is.
down there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15th floor. So it
Wow.
turns out the midwife that I was working with is from BC, and she didn't have catchment in Toronto quite yet. Like her papers are still crossing over. So she couldn't
Okay.
accompany me upstairs anyways, it's fine. So she's like,
Mm.
but my colleague will be up there. So I
Hmm.
go up to the birthing unit, I go in there, and then like this woman who I haven't met before is like, let me know how I can support you, sister. And she had
Hmm.
like crystal necklaces on and long hair. And she was a medicine woman, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, my people. So she's just like, any way I can support you, sister. Like she was so mellow. She just gave me. So I entered this room with
Mm-hmm.
my three children,
Mm-hmm.
drums,
Mm-hmm.
blankets, my partner, our
Mm-hmm.
medicines and whatever. And so we set up a bed for the kids. We set up whatever. We just took over the space
Mm-hmm.
completely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which so what now I love to remind my clients, that
Yeah.
was the teaching and like just own the space. Who cares about them?
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So then that happened, and then she's like, the midwife was like, so how's it going? I had one contraction. One after that was set up, I had a contraction, and then she suggested, "Do you want to go and try using the washroom?" I said, "Sure." Go to the washroom, look down. I see that I'm crowning. So I stood up from the washroom and I went into the doorway of the bathroom into the hospital room and had another contraction in the
Mm-hmm.
doorway,
Mm-hmm.
and then I felt the urge to push.
Yeah.
So I just started pushing and bearing down in the doorway, kind of like in that like goddess, like like
Yeah.
framing the door, like a horse stance kind of feel. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so she came out that way, and then that midwife woman, she was like, "Oh, like now? Oh!" So she did a little football slide, like she slide on the belly to go catch the baby that's falling to the ground. And she was flustered because it was wet and it was
Right.
happening like a little, not too quick, but quick. So then
Mm-hmm.
I felt that she was flustered. So then I was like, "Don't worry, I get the baby." And I was like, "Whoa," and reached down and just grabbed the baby and delivered her and unwrapped her and brought her up to my
Oh
chest.
my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, and then we had to get from the doorway to the bed, which was like maybe 5 paces away. And so then
Mm-hmm.
I walked in the water and I almost slipped on the fluid. That was that point. No,
Okay.
like there's always this moment where you're like, "Oh wait, I can't," or
Mm-hmm.
"What's happening?" There's almost slippery fluids under my feet. That was a bit like, I felt that. And then we made it to the bed, and yeah, and then and then the kids were there for that one too. And my husband started, his partner started, chanting and singing and welcoming the baby in. And we were able to leave shortly after. They did all the testing and stuff. And we denied the erythromycin, just want to say that, and the vitamin K and all of the things that they always offer afterwards. We've always declined, putting that out there. Yeah, for all the babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Imani, we drove home and the paint was dry, and I did my postpartum period there,
Wow.
and it was beautiful. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
honored the 40 days with her. I
Okay.
had a calendar up, and I was like marking the
Mm-hmm.
days and giving myself the 40 days postpartum to stay really close to home. And
Yeah.
then she had a naming ceremony, so she had a whole thing after that point where
Mm-hmm.
people from the community came and passed her around the circle and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She hated it.
Not her jam. She's not the community baby.
Oh, she is now. She is now, but she's just like at the time she's like, "Why are you holding me?
Yeah.
Where's my mom?" Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I love that. And then same thing, easy birth for the placenta and then buried it under a tree.
And so then her placenta story is different too. She's got
Okay.
different elements, I
She's
feel.
all different. Okay.
Yeah, well, I birthed the placenta. I kept the placenta,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then it was time. At that time, I stayed together with their dad for another 5 months, but then I left him. And so in the leaving process, um, it was kind of like a little bit of like a running, fleeing abuse situation. And so I left my life behind and kind of packed up and things, and we went on to the next journey. And we were couch surfing for a while, when the baby was under one, going towards the year one, because I thought I could just leave him and find another place. But then, whole new conversation is around housing for mothers and children, and how that's it. Everyone's like, "Oh, you've got kids, click." You know what I mean? Like it's hard to access housing when you have dependents. So
Mm-hmm.
that was
Yeah.
the big theme.
Yeah.
So I found myself like homeless with the four,
Oh gosh.
but not in the streets, but just like,
Yeah. Not your
So
own
I brought the
space.
placenta with me, and I was staying at a friend's place for a couple of months. She's a single mom, and I had my placenta in her freezer.
Mm,
And then we moved on to like a shelter for a while, and at the time she didn't really realize that my placenta was in her freezer, and she's got this like beautiful dog that's actually like a healer dog, like it has like tags and stuff, like it's like a special dog. Nala, I love that dog, and Nala never barks, and it's a woman, a female, and it looks like a white wolf, so she's very
mm.
interesting. Anyways, I think that she fed the placenta to Nala.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So this dog, this wild mystic dog, has
Has
took
just
that to
ingested.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
don't think I've heard that before. I think I've had one story where a woman she buried her placenta out in the backyard and they lived kind of in a foresty area. And
Yeah.
then a bear came and dug it up and
Ah,
ate the placenta because they didn't bury it deep enough.
yeah.
But yeah, I haven't heard of someone like a friend of ours accidentally fed our placenta to their dog as food.
Oh,
That was just its journey, I guess.
I am. It's like
Well,
it's running free. Like there's
yeah.
something about some freedom, some travel, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay
Mm-hmm.
with it. It does make me
Mm.
smile.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And again, just another completely different story. Like all of these, yeah, experiences have just been so vastly different and just so beautiful in their own way. Um, I love it. I'm just like lapping it all up and just wow. That's why I love doing this. This is what makes me so happy is hearing these stories and hearing these things and these experiences from women in their walks of life. And it's like you've lived so many lifetimes just in this one here and now. And like you've become so many women through the births of each of your children, and I'm sure through all of the other experiences that you've had. It's really beautiful to be able to witness that in you. So thank you for sharing and allowing me and everyone else who's listening to see and hear this. It's
Oh,
really
thank you.
special.
Thank
Hmm.
you.
Yeah.
So honored.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm so grateful we got connected, Elisha. And hearing your stories, yeah, is just, they're amazing. And I'm so excited for people to hear these journeys that you've been on as a woman, as a mother, as you, as a creative, yeah, as who you are. It's really, really, really cool.
I appreciate it. Ever since I've seen your show, I was thinking, oh, I've got some stories.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you would love to share for the women that are listening, before we wrap up?
Yeah. Well, I think from the perspective of mother and birthing person, but also from this perspective as doula and like sister of support
Hmm.
in this realm, I I just feel that your authentic self, whatever that is for you out there listening, like your strong place, your happy place, your soulful place, that is the place that you should be visiting frequently or living from throughout your pregnancy, birthing experience, early motherhood, like because that is the place that is going to allow you to make one decision after the next decision after the next and to be a creator of worlds, your soul power is the mother in action. And so, if any system or a group of people or anything external is like making you feel small or fearful or questioning yourself or doubting yourself, especially as a person of color up against a very, very twisted system, I witness time and time again now as a birth worker. I work with marginalized women, for lack of a better word, teen moms, women in refugee shelters, and things like that. And my work as a doula is advocacy work,
Yeah.
that they're allowed and able to have bodily autonomy and to birth naturally and to say no. That you
Yeah.
won't get deported or you won't get reported to CAS or, you know,
Yeah.
just because you're standing in your own choices,
Yeah.
right? So that's the work now.
hmm
That's the work now is creating clear spaces for women to birth naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I love that.
yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
saying that. That's so
You're
beautiful.
welcome.
And that leads into if any women want to connect and contact you, maybe about the work, the birth work that you're doing, going deeper into your stories, how could they reach out to you?
Sure. So I am on Instagram, and on Instagram it's at Mystic Seed, MYSTICSEED _. That page, it's going to be highlighting my work as a yoga practitioner.
hmm
So I teach Kundalini, prenatal, postnatal, Hatha yoga.
Mm,
Um, and then my work as a birth worker, it's there as well, my doula work, so full spectrum postpartum care, birth care, even abortion support.
mhm.
And then I'm also a DJ,
Okay.
roots reggae vinyl DJ.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I love just throwing that in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I post random pictures of my kids, you know, so
Okay.
please work with me here. But yeah, and then mysticseed.ca or .com is the website.
hmm
Yeah, and so you can reach me that way as well.
Wow, I love that. All multifaceted, just yeah, you and your beautiful web of stories and yeah, your journeys and everything you've done. I'm so grateful, Elisha, for you sharing with me and for everyone here today. Truly, I am.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
truly blessed to be here. Thank you, Karma.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much, women, for listening to this latest episode of the Free Birthing in Color movement. If you want to continue supporting this movement and all that comes with it, please give a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Like the videos on YouTube and share this episode with some of your friends. As reciprocity for the work that I'm doing and the content that I'm creating, it only takes 2 minutes to show your support through a 5-star rating, a small written review, and a share. If you want to give a monetary donation to help with the back end costs of keeping everything that is happening within this movement going, you can send your donations through PayPal via the link in the show notes. And again, as reciprocity for the work that I'm doing and creating, I'm so grateful when those donations come through. All information can be found within the show notes below. I'll see you in the next episode.